Okay, so interactive features in CLI were introduced few months back. So it's a recent launch of ours, and interactive features in CLI provides a new and easy way of interacting with OCI services from your terminal. So you can imagine interactive features to be a guided experience while you are using CLI. So in what way does interactive features help users? There are three key features that interactive CLI provides that stands out. And let's go through each of them. First one is command and parameter suggestion. So that means while you're using interactive CLI, we give you a menu that shows you various commands available, various parameters available, so that you can pick and choose which command and parameter you want for your command. The second key benefit is auto completion. That means as you see various commands and suggestions you want to enter, you don't have to type it completely. You can choose the commands from the menu. You can auto complete them. The third one is command reference information. This means every command has a specific information that is available, such as is this command or a parameter is a required parameter? Is this parameter an optional parameter? So those things are mentioned in the interactive features within the CLI. And while this is great, the explaining this on the slide may not be give you a clear picture. So what I would like to do is showcase these features through a live demo. And that's exactly my next slide as well. So let's jump into interactive CLI demo and see how interactive CLI helps you. So let me bring my terminal here. I'll stop share for a second. And I'm sharing my terminal here. So this is my Mac terminal. So let's say I want to run OCI CLI commands. So since I already know a few commands, I want to just show you what exactly CLI is and how the commands work. So let me type a simple command to get started. So I do OCI OS ns get and I hit enter. So this gives me some response back. So this is the data I get back. Now let's go through this command. What exactly does it do and what's the format of this command? So as you see here, every command, CLI command starts with the keyword OCI. Next, it starts with OS. OS stands in this case for object storage. So that's the service that we want to talk to. The NS stands for namespace or the resource type in this case. And the get is finally the action that I want to take, whether it's, it could be get or, it could be different other actions like, delete or, list, something like that. Now, this command gives me the namespace of my tenancy for object storage service in OCI. All right, so this is great, but you see a problem here. One is that as a new user, or for that matter, even if you're an expert user of CLI, you need to remember this command. Now, since this is a very simple command and I know it, I could easily type it out. But let's say we want to interact with another OCI service and it's a complex command and you don't remember it. Or let's say you don't even remember OCI OS ns get command. What would you do? So typically you would go to OCI documentation, CLI documentation. I'm sharing my terminal here. So this is my Mac terminal. So let's say I want to run OCI CLI commands. So since I already know a few commands, I want to just show you what exactly CLI is and how the commands work. So let me type a simple command to get started. So I do OCI OS ns get and I hit enter. So this gives me some response back. So this is the data I get back. Now let's go through this command. What exactly does it do and what's the format of this command? So as you see here, every command, CLI command starts with the keyword OCI. Next, it starts with OS. OS stands in this case for object storage. So that's the service that we want to talk to. The NS stands for namespace or the resource type in this case. And the get is finally the action that I want to take, whether it's, it could be get or, it could be different other actions like, delete or, list, something like that. Now, this command gives me the namespace of my tenancy for object storage service in OCI. All right, so this is great, but you see a problem here. One is that as a new user, or for that matter, even if you are an expert user of CLI, you need to remember this command. Now, since this is a very simple command and I know it, I could easily type it out. But let's say we want to we want to interact with another OCI service, and it's a complex command, and you don't remember it, or let's say you don't even remember OCI OS get command. What would you do? So typically, you would go to OCI documentation, CLI documentation, look for object storage service. You find the object storage, then you look for, okay, I want to get namespace. So you go for a search for namespace, and then you see what is the action I can take for that specific command. And then you construct this whole CLI command. Now, this is where exactly interactive CLI comes into picture. So what I'll do right now is to show you the interactive features within CLI. So in order to get started with interactive CLI, the command that you would start off with OCI -I. Now, OCI, as I said, is always the pre-populated keyword that you need to give to run any CLI command. -I stands for I want to use interactive features in my CLI. So you type OCI -I. Now let's see what happens. So there you go. Now you're inside an interactive, let's say, a mode wherein you get it will give you a guided experience, and I'll show you how that does. But before that, a couple of things. As you see here, you don't need to type OCI. We always pre-populate that specific command beforehand, so that it's easy for you to type the rest of the command. We also give you a couple of shortcuts as to what exactly you can do on here, such as tab or enter to autocomplete or execute your command, Control D if you want to quit the interactive mode. So these are some of the details about the interactive CLI. Now, what I want to do here is that the same command that I ran before, by remembering it, which is OCI OS get, I want to run the same command within the interactive shell here. So what I do is I hit tab. Now, as you see, I get a drop-down menu here. Now, in this drop-down menu, I want to look for object storage because I want to interact with object storage. So what I do is I can go down this list and try to look for object storage. So as you see here, we give you a description of all the different services that are available and a keyword for that. So for example, let's say API gateway, and we give you the keyword and tell you what exactly that service is, which is API gateway. You see all the other services here. Now, as you go down and select a specific service, which is API gateway, for example, you don't actually have to type the full command, which is API gateway. It auto selects it for you, and you can just by hit enter and complete that specific keyword. So in our case, we are looking for object storage. So I go down the list and I'm looking for object storage. So I'll probably go somewhere in O section. So this is sorted in alphabetical order. So to make it easy. So as I go to the O section, I'm looking for, is there any object storage here? And I see there is an object storage service, and the keyword for that is OS. So I select that specific keyword. I don't need to again type it. I just select, hit enter. I again type space. Now it gives me the menu for next set of actions that I need to take. The next set of action that I need to take here is that I need to get the resource type. In this case, we are looking for NS, which is namespace. So I look for, is there any namespace here? And I see that there is a description that says a namespace is a logical entity that serves as a top level container. So I get that, okay, this is a namespace I want to use. And I type, I select NS, so I don't have to type. So I select NS, and the last option is I need to give the resource type or the options type. So in this case, I have three different options. I can give get, I can do get metadata, update metadata. I just want to do get. So I choose get, I hit enter, and now I'm ready to go because it's the same command that I executed on my normal terminal. So what I do right now is since I completed the command, I'll hit enter and see what happens. So you see here, I got the same response back, which I got by typing my normal command from my terminal or from the CLI. So interactive CLI basically help you or guided you to construct this command without having to remember what is the keyword for object storage, what other commands that I can provide for object storage. So that's all simplified by just using interactive CLI features. You could have noticed one thing here, which is as I typed OCI OSNS get and hit enter, I came out of the interactive feature and I'm back in my normal terminal. This is by design. So we allow you to type one single interactive CLI command within the interactive feature. As you execute that command, you will be out of the interactive feature and you will back to normal terminal. So if you want to use the interactive feature again, there are two ways. Either you can start typing OCI -I and go back to interactive shell again. If not, what you could do is you can set your environment variables to true so that every time you type a command, you're automatically get into interactive mode so that you can use interactive features. So with that said, this was an easy command. Maybe you could be able to remember this command and type it, and not a big deal. Let's talk about, let's say, a much more complicated command, or probably a harder command, which is not easy to remember and not straightforward. So let's try out one more command and see how it goes in interactive feature. So again, in order to get back into my interactive mode, I type OCI -I and hit enter. And I am back in my interactive feature. Now let's say I want to create a compute virtual machine in order to do something on top of that machine. So let's see how we can do this. The first step is, of course, I'll start with a tab and see what are the different options available for me to do. And now in this case, I'm looking for compute because I want to launch a compute instance. So I go looking down in, let's say, a C section to see if there is something called as compute here. And I see a bunch of other compute C that starts with various options like container engine, certificate service, etc. But I also see something called compute, which I want to launch. So create for me. So I choose this compute and I hit enter, and this auto completes the command. I don't have to type it in completely. So I choose compute, and again I hit space, and I see if there is what are the other options available for me in compute. Now in this case, I want to launch a compute instance. So again, I'm looking for, is there an instance here? I scroll through this drop-down list. I see something like instance, and there is a description of what exactly this is. This is what exactly I want. So I choose instance, I hit enter. Again, I hit space. Now I'm looking for what actions I can take on compute instance. So there are multiple options like, action, you can attach your VNIC, you can get all the instances, or you can list all the instances, etc. In this specific case, I want to launch a compute instance on OCI. So I choose launch. Again, I hit enter. It auto completes that command for me. Now, the last step that is remaining in this is to provide various parameters to this compute instance or the options. So what I do is I hit space. Now I see various options that I can provide for compute instance launch. Now, as you can see here, there are color coding here. So there is 4 parameters that are marked in red and rest of them are marked in black. So this is a way for users to understand what are required parameters and what are optional parameters. So the one in red and with an asterisk mark indicate that these are the required parameters and you must provide those parameters. The one in black are optional parameters and you can choose to ignore them. So what I want to do is start filling out all the required parameters in order for my command to work. So let's say I choose availability domain and I hit space. Now it gives me all the different availability domains that are available for my my tenancy in my specific region. So if you were to not get this list in this menu, typically the way you would do is you have to go to your OCI console or OCI documentation and try to figure out what is the keyword or the code for availability domain in Phoenix region. So that is not an easy task or not an easy thing for you to remember. But we have simplified that in interactive feature by populating the values by making a backend API call to your tenancy, fetching all the availability domains in that specific region and pre-populating them in this menu bar. So that way you can just go through this list and choose what specific domain, availability domain you want. So let's say in this case, I choose availability domain 2, AD2. I hit space because I have few more parameters I need to fill out. Now you see here, since I already filled out the availability domain, which was a required parameter, it's gone away from this list now. So I only have 3 more to fill, which are required. So let's go fill out each one by one. So I choose compartment ID, hit space. Now, typically what happens is that if you were to run this command on a normal CLI, you would have to give the OCID or the Oracle identifier for your compartment. So it's a large string that is very hard to remember. So what we have done here in this case is you have to only remember what compartment is your name. So let's say in my case, my compartment is my name, which is Karthik. So I go and find out in the menu, okay, great. There is a compartment with Karthik. So I choose my compartment and we automatically substitute the name of the compartment with the actual value in the backend here. So as you see here, you don't have to remember this compartment OCID. It automatically fills that out for you. So I have a couple of more things to fill out. So I'll choose shape here. I type space to see what are the different shapes I can provide. So whether it's bare metal, do I want to give standard VM machine, or do I want to give a GPU, etc. So let's say I choose a normal virtual machine, a standard machine of a certain shape. So I choose VM standard 2.1. Finally, I'm left with last one, which is subnet ID. So similar to compartment, I don't have to remember the exact code or the value or the OCID for my subnet. I know that the subnet that I want to use is demo subnet. So I choose that demo subnet and I hit enter from the drop-down menu. Now note that again, it substitutes the value of the subnet that you see here on the screen here, and it populates the value for you. So now we have basically completed this complex or a large command just as a guided experience, as if you are learning through it. So there is a drop-down options. You choose those values and the values get automatically populated, and now you are ready to go. So let's see what happens now. Now, all the required parameters that we saw in red asterisk mark, they are gone because you have fulfilled them. Now we are only left with these options, which are optional. So we don't need to give them. But for the sake of this example, I'll just choose one more. Let's say I want to choose an image. I choose image ID, and again I look for what specific operating system I want to use. So I'll choose, let's say, Oracle Linux. So I choose this specific image ID, and I hit enter. It again substitute the OCID for that Oracle Linux image, and this command is now complete. So next what I do is I hit enter and see what happens. Okay, so it gave me something back. So let's go through this response and see what is happening. So as you can scroll down a little bit up, you can see here is that this instance is getting provisioned. So let me bring up my OCI Cloud Console to show you what exactly is happening on my cloud. So let me share my screen again. I'm on my Oracle Cloud instance here. So this is the home page. So I go to instances, and I'm in my compartment Karthik, and you can see here this instance is already up and running. So it was provisioned just probably within a minute back, and it's already available for you. So now the compute instance that you wanted to create is ready for you to use, and you can do various operations on top of that. So just by using the interactive CLI, you were able to create a compute instance, which is a complex command, and you were able to get a guided experience and without having to remember various commands, various parameters or options. So that's the great thing about interactive features. So interactive features simplifies your overall CLI experience. It's a great tool for anybody, whether you're starting new or whether you're an expert CLI user. It makes your life easy on the job.